All right, another episode. Thank you for downloading the old podcast, Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What's up, Ant?
Just recovering from my last trip.
Back from Japan.
Back from Japan for a whole week.
Any new systems?
No, I basically spent the entire time working. I had no free time to go system shopping.
Quote unquote working.
Yeah, but next time I'm going back in a week for 2.5 weeks, so I should have plenty of time.
You're going to be in Japan for 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let's bring in our rotating third then to talk about this part. We have with us here tonight Frank,
Hello.
who, not to be confused with Frankie, our number one super fan, but Frank, who's very quickly becoming, I think, a super fan because he's listening from episode 1, and they are related. So be on the lookout. You hear some similarities. What's going on, Frank?
Yeah, so anybody named Frank is going to become a fan of our show.
I am actually the better-looking Frank of the family. He's my cousin.
Frank, we all live.
Oh, God.
Remember the song I had that
get texts when he listens to this thing.
They call him Skinny Frankie, but I've lost 40 pounds, and he's gained.
You
so
did.
I think we might be reversing. But anyway.
So, welcome to the show, Frank.
Thank you for having me.
No, definitely. And we're going to get into the usual retro questions here in a little bit. But Frank, part of the group. I mean, we've been friends. The three of us, or the two of us, have known you for
about 15 years.
About 15 years.
Probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we were...
wicked Super Bowl.
We started at a Super Bowl party, and within a couple of weeks...
started a Super Bowl party, and Frank and I became roommates.
And the funny thing is, at that Super Bowl party is when I played a certain video game that I've become still obsessed with to this day.
Did you?
Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, you played that?
I went out the next day. Actually, I won the Super Bowl box, and I went out and bought PlayStation 2. And I bought Grand Theft Auto 3.
Oh, GTA 3. That's
and
awesome.
I've been hooked since.
There you go. I like the sound of that.
But that's not retro enough for you, I know.
What? It is.
No, that's retro enough for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
We do go back and forth on where retro ends, but I think we both are in agreement. PlayStation 2 is right there.
Well, being a little bit older than you guys, I think I've gone more retro than you with my first gaming system, but I'll let you interview me.
So before we get
to... The suspense.
That's called a tease.
Why do I feel like Chip Kipperson's going to be on the show?
We're going to teach Larry about film, too.
I'm getting to that. I just downloaded iMovie. Let's get back to you in Japan. 2.5 weeks. That's going to give you more than enough time to find a Famicom.
Yeah, there's a retro game shop about 3 miles from my hotel that I've already got pegged. So as soon as I get some free time, I'm gonna head right over there and spend my entire paycheck.
There you go. I like the sound of that. Well, the yen versus the dollar shouldn't be too bad.
No, it's not that far off. I think last time I checked, it was like 88 cents equals 100 yen. So it's actually a little bit cheaper.
Awesome. Have you ever been to Japan?
Not recently. No,
okay.
Never. No.
Just checking.
Nice country.
What? Sure.
I was just on a cruise with a bunch of Japanese people, and that was interesting.
Okay.
Well,
should we leave it at that?
What?
Should we leave it at that?
I could elaborate. Nothing bad. It's just, let's say, when we're all trying to eat breakfast, and they're literally having a conference of 25 people with spreadsheets, and one person is
working. Wow.
Well, I don't know if it was work. I think it was planning of the day. And one person was literally on a mini megaphone. No, I'm not lying. He was a mini megaphone.
Oh, I believe that.
And giving orders in loud Japanese where I'm trying to eat my third breakfast burrito of the morning, and all I hear is Japanese speak.
There you go.
Japanese speak. Is that
Japanese speak.
That's offensive. I apologize.
It sounds professional. Also, that sounds like every morning when I'm in Japan.
Have you ever played any imported games or Japanese games or anything like that?
Well, once I actually played when I lived with our friend Anthony, not you, Anthony, the other Anthony.
Oh, the other one. Okay.
He had a sit down version of Puckman.
Oh, yes.
The Japanese version of Pac-Man.
Yep.
I believe that was what it was originally called.
Originally Pac-Man, yep. And originally Pac-Man became Pac-Man.
It barely worked, so we had to kick it a lot to get it to work.
I don't think, because I eventually if you know the three of us, and then who we're talking about, Anthony as well. We rotated in this one apartment,
and that revolving door of friends.
I think by the time I got there, that Puckman machine was probably dead because I don't remember playing it.
I haven't seen it in years, so I think it's in his new house.
I played that game as a kid for years in Anthony's basement.
There you go.
Sweet. Real quick, before we get on with Frank, I kind of want to bring some people up to speed. I don't know if you watched. I did my continuing Castlevania 2 and my Descent into Madness with that game.
How's that going?
It's going.
I heard you got a little angry.
A little bit,
Wait,
yeah.
I'm on episode 8 of the podcast. So Anthony was just about finishing
Shining Force
2.
And you were just going to start.
By the way, that goes on for a while.
Yeah, it took a little while for us to start.
You were just like, okay, I'm going to start Castlevania 2. So now 23 episodes later.
Just about. Well, I had to get the NES Classic first, which I got in December, and then finally I got around.
It was about a 3 or 4 month delay in me finishing. Shining Force 2.
It took a little while.
Fun.
Yeah,
I've been enjoying that.
But yeah, it takes me pretty much about almost a full hour to do like 2 things to move on to progress in the game because I still haven't downloaded any sort of strategy guide or anything like that.
I told you to call the Nintendo hotline,
and I said I would.
Okay.
But it's been fun. Just going to continue on with that. And like I said, I'm going to try and do it weekly. And that's that. Really, no news because I did like literally 2 things in like 45 minutes on that game. I got the crystal.
Wait, what kind of progress are we talking here?
I got the rib, and now I got the heart, Dracula's heart.
Okay.
And the rib is a shield. So I think you mentioned that last time.
Yes, the rib is the shield. So at least you're making some progress. As long as you're getting like 1 item per game per play, you should be fine.
I'm getting there. I'm slowly putting together that Dracula, and then to kill him again. So
is that what you have to?
Yeah, you pretty much bring and then
kill him.
It's like the most difficult game to get to the end, and then it's the easiest end boss battle in gaming history.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
now, remember what I said that there were multiple endings. So how are you doing in terms of getting the best possible ending?
I'm going to tell you right now, everyone's going to see the worst ending.
Okay.
So that's I'm just going to put it on Front Street. Worst ending ever.
I expect nothing less from you. So.
Thank you. So we'll be continuing that with Castlevania. Also, I just want to mention real quick, I visited. We were at Barcade in Brooklyn, where your cousin was with us, Frank.
Phone call.
We did call you.
No, you didn't.
Okay. I visited Barcade in the city, New York City's Barcade. Next time you're in town, we're hitting that up. A lot. Different games than Brooklyn had. There was a Ghostbusters arcade game that I never remember.
You don't remember that game?
Did you?
Well, no, the new one. The new one?
No. We're talking the old one from the 80s.
The old one.
Yeah, Barcade has like 80s games, 70s and 80s games. I don't remember playing it.
It was a 4-player console arcade.
It may have been. It was very packed. So, yeah. But it looked fantastic. You've played it before, Ant?
Oh yeah, I've played it before. It's an awesome game.
Sweet. Remember when I saw it, I was like, "This is amazing." And then on the Play Choice, the Nintendo Play Choice 10 had your standard Punch Out, Castlevania, Super Mario Brothers 2. It also had Jaws.
Why?
I don't know. Do you remember Jaws on the NES?
I vaguely remember Jaws. I gotta remember. I went the Sega route.
We're gonna. You know what? Let's start to dive into.
I think I'm the only person in the world who played and beat that game repeatedly. I don't know why. It wasn't good.
I think it's one of the worst games.
It's one of the worst games.
I don't know. It was fun to play. I mean, it's horrible, but it's fun to play.
I think the Sega version of that was Echo the Dolphin, and that game was horrible.
Yeah, so I think you're losing out.
Yeah.
So you were a Sega boy growing up,
right? Well, I think if we go back a little further, I've been, a gamer since I could walk and talk.
Okay.
I started with Pong.
Oh my God!
Things. Yes, Pong, and then we graduated to Atari 2600, and also regular stand-up video games. My mother took my brother and myself to this place in Rockaway called Fascination. Now, this was probably a very shady neighborhood, but it was a full-blown video arcade.
Okay.
You'd get a roll of quarters, and my mother and my stepfather and my brother and myself, probably my sister, we would go there.
Yeah.
But I remember leaving, it was run to the car. because you might die.
So it turned in from playing games into living a game, pretty much. Frogger GTA.
Auto. So from 2600, we went to Commodore 64, which played a ton of PC games, and then I got a Sega, where everyone else got NES. I don't know why. I just went that route.
Like Master System or Genesis?
Sega Master System.
Wow,
the
okay.
original, which I still own.
Oh, really?
I still have it. It's boxed. But it's
okay.
Nice. I still have the Genesis I got, and then I actually had a girl buy me Dreamcast.
Whoa, there you go.
And
all right. Hubba.
That's how it's done.
Yes, from Dreamcast, I graduated to the PlayStation 2, like I mentioned, primarily for Grand Theft Auto 3. And when I moved in with who's now my wife, I was pulling my hair out of my head because all my friends, you guys were in Brooklyn, and I now moved to Long Island. She took pity on me and bought me the original Xbox.
Wow.
With the Homer Simpson...
Hello there.
That dog has your puppy tail. No, the Homer Simpson version of Crazy Taxi.
Oh, Hit and Run. No, not Hit and Run.
I don't remember, but all I know is she is
Road
not
Rage,
a gamer.
that's what it was. Okay.
And watching her, move the controller halfway across the room to steer was making my eye twitch.
That's exactly. That's how we all played.
Right,
Remember that on the NES?
My son doesn't. But from there, I graduated to Xbox 360, now Xbox One.
There you go. All right. So you never owned a Nintendo, Super Nintendo?
No, I played it at friends' houses, but I never owned it. I went the Sega route.
That sounds weird to me. I don't know why.
I'm a weird person.
I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong.
Larry, remember how we said you were a Nintendo purist? Well, Frank was not a Nintendo. He was a Sega purist.
I don't think it was. I mean, if I would have maybe had more priorities, I just I don't know. I had the games. I was like, I'm not going to go buy another game system because I have one.
Yeah, I hear you on that part.
It wasn't a matter of like,
well. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did mean to cut you off. Not only did it's not like you weren't going to buy other systems. I mean, you were young. It's not like you were buying systems,
right. So like
we're all a part of that.
The Sega Dreamcast, my mother got me. I'm sure. The Genesis, I think I split with my brother. Now, my brother-in-law got the Sega CD.
Okay.
With the Dana Plato game.
Night Trap.
Night Trap.
Anthony is somehow, I think, connected to Night Trap.
That was a terrible
yes,
system.
I have it. I told a 6 Degree story on one of these podcasts on how I'm connected to an actor in Night Trap.
That's awesome. That is great. I can't wait to listen to that.
And it's not Dana Plato.
Well,
no, it's definitely not Dana Plato.
But, so I remember playing, and I think it was the one where you attached the Genesis to this, was it side by side or on top?
Well, it depends on which version you had. The first version you put it on top. Second version was side to side.
It was on top.
Wow, you had OG one. All right, so it had the drawer that came out.
Correct.
No. Wasn't it underneath the CDX? Is that what you're talking about?
No, he's talking about the Sega CD, the first incarnation of the Sega CD. You put the Genesis 1 model on top of it because it was huge, and it was a drawer that came out.
Genesis on top, yeah.
That's right. The second one,
yes.
The second one I had was side to side. And then they eventually came out with the hybrid CDX, which I'm dying to get my hands on.
Now, Sega,
because I have the second generation one, the side by side.
Sweet, yeah, that's one I had.
Sega also had a hotline.
Did they?
Oh yeah,
and you called it
1-800 USA Sega. Or something. Why I remember that?
Correct.
That's right. So, and I remember calling it to the game Rocky. You played Apollo, then you played Clubber Lang, and then you had to fight Drago. You fought Apollo, Clubber Lang, and then Drago. Yeah. Could not beat Drago for the life of me. And I'm sure I got some snooty little 16-year-old or 18-year-old or whatever, and he basically said to me, I said, yeah, how do you beat Drago? He goes, and my brother-in-law, and I still quote this today, anytime we see each other, stuck on Drago, eh? I'm like, yeah, you got to do combination punches, man. And I'm like, all right. He goes, can't believe you're stuck on Drago. I'm like, dude, I was like 13 or 14. So I hung up. Took me about another 3 days to beat Drago.
At least you beat him. That's what counts.
And then I never played it ever.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, you know what? Next time I come over, I want to see that Master System.
All right, yeah, I got to dig it out.
Yeah, you do that.
Is that a euphemism, Larry?
I'll show you mine if you show me your system.
Oh, okay. This is going to be not family friendly, I guess.
I'll show you all 13 of mine.
I still have not cursed. So.
Hey, I'll show you my Game Boy.
Yeah, no.
Can you show me your Virtual Boy?
No, stop right there.
Virtual Boy?
I wish I still had my Virtual Boy.
Yeah, show us your Virtual Boy, Larry.
that's what the ladies say. It's quite virtual. All right. So, all right, cool. That's definitely cool. Like I said, growing up, I think Anthony, you started out with Nintendo and stuff, right?
No, I started out with Atari 2600.
No, well, that's true. I think we all started with Atari. It's weird. It's funny. When I think starting out with games, I go straight to Nintendo. I don't know why. I've owned Ataris.
Because you're biased.
No, I think it's really when everything took off.
Yeah, I definitely think the game 2600, I think, was more family orientated.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the Nintendo was more for kids.
Oh, totally.
So I think the 2600 was something to get the family around the television. Mm-hmm. I remember my father and my mother and my stepdad eventually playing it. And was there an Atari 4800 or something?
There was a 7200.
There was an Atari 400, 800, 2600,
56,
52,
that's what it was.
And then a 7600.
Yes.
Right, I knew there was something. We didn't get those. We like I said, we ended up getting the Commodore 64. And then we were playing all the games on the discs, which, I mean...
The floppies?
The floppy discs.
What was your favorite game on Commodore 64?
Commodore 64... there was one game I played. It was Raid on Moscow. There was G.I. Joe. I literally...
Wow, you have better games than I did.
1,000 games in my... There was one game I do remember when I bought my first computer. This was a home PC that I ordered through a magazine.
Consumer Report?
And it wasn't even Consumer. It was a computer magazine. My boss, who knew computers, said, get it. It's a good computer. It was the biggest piece of crap I ever bought, but I bought this game called Carmageddon.
Yes.
And I think they have like a Nintendo version or something of it now.
Sega. PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah.
And Carmageddon was, to me, the first open world game. You eventually hit the end of the city, but you could play online. And it was the most basic, crudest form. But I remember hiding in an alleyway, and I don't remember the kind of car. I think it was a hearse or something. And some schlep was slowly driving by, and I just floored it and rammed him and ended up winning that way. Because it was the first version of GTA.
Yeah.
You could run people over,
yep,
the 8-bit people, and you didn't have to win the race. You just got more points by
you just had to survive.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much had to
just
survive,
destroy.
There was one of the F1 buttons would reverse all the damage. You would go right back.
Nice.
But I mean, you would lose money, but
okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, my favorite game was like High Rollers. So
High Rollers, I remember.
Carmageddon is big time.
There was G.I. Joe. There was Jeopardy.
You always had
but after 4 times you played Jeopardy, you knew all the questions.
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune. They came out with every game. Ghostbusters, for instance. That was if you couldn't afford the hearse, you can get a Volkswagen, or a Jeep, but it would go slower. So you get to then you eventually had to fight Zool and the Marshmallow Man. It was a horrible game, but
that it was.
There was thousands, and I actually cracked the games too.
Did you really?
Well, I shouldn't. I know someone with the same name as me, not my cousin, who cracked the games. Not like it matters.
Oh, so how many Frank Facinas do we know?
Hey, why'd you say my last name? Can you edit that out? Crank caller.
I'll fix it in post.
This could be the first episode where we can bleep stuff.
I'll figure it out.
Thanks. I'm just giving my address.
Frank M.
No, there was a place on Avenue blank in Brooklyn that rented games for your Commodore 64.
Really?
And we would crack them.
I mean, it's a large avenue. Avenue U?
Yes.
I think I know the store you're talking about.
Cetera.
Oh, I think I know which. Okay, I think I know which place you're talking about.
I remember.
I was just going to say, it doesn't matter if you know the name of the store. The store's not there anymore.
Right.
I'm sure it's not there anymore. Yeah.
Passed into another realm. But we used to crack the games, and when you would then rent the game and you would load it onto your computer, it would say cracked by Dam Incorporated, and there'd be a picture of a dam with a crack in it. And
I didn't know that was possible back then.
And I was the Equalizer. That was my hacking name.
For real?
Oh, my part of the job was to just go and rent the games.
No, because I'm going to call you the Equalizer from now on.
Go right ahead.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just gonna use your full name from now on.
Please don't.
Your Social Security's next week. All right, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'd really like to. I mean, I don't think I've seen a Master System in a long time, so we'll get on that a little later. And of course, you also how could I forget to mention your arcade machine,
my full-size Arkanoid machine.
Yes, I was there when we picked that one up. Yes. That was a drill.
That was fun getting that into my basement. My obsession with Arkanoid started in my Cuisine days back in Brooklyn when I would cruise 86th
the
Street.
Cuisine days.
And we'd end up at the Vegas Diner. They had an arcade. They had an Arkanoid machine in the lobby.
Really?
So we'd have our food, and then I would literally probably throw in about $2 worth of quarters and play for about a good 2 hours of Arkanoid.
That's what I used to do with the foursome.
Yes. Yeah, they always had the video games or whatever. And so my brother, who has a couple of the Mr. Do machines in his house.
Really?
Well, when we were kids, we watched The Toy.
Okay.
And in The Toy, he had an arcade room, which we loved and hated because we hated that he had it. And we said that when we got older, we were going to have Lamborghinis and we were going to have an arcade. I don't have a Lamborghini, but I do have one Arkanoid game. My brother has Galaga or Galaxia.
Wow. Okay. Probably
Mr.
Galaga.
Do and Mr. Do's Wild Ride.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, he makes more money than I do.
And who has a high score now on Arkanoid?
At my house?
Yeah.
My humble abode?
Yeah.
My brother. I can't beat his score.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, at my own home. So that hurts. That hurts a lot. But I'm going to be practicing.
Good. And that's what you do. Practice makes perfect.
But,
break your hand until you get that high score.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
That was like me this week at Barcade. I was doing my best to get that stupid high score on Miss Pac-Man. So close, but so far away.
So far.
Yeah. 195 at 150 wasn't too shabby.
Yeah, so Arkanoid I love. I mean, there's so many retro games that I love.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah. Next time we go to, an arcade place,
notice so I could
I'll let you know.
Have the wife.
One's in Jersey. There's a ton of them.
I think my brother's been into the one in Jersey.
And I know you saw it at the Pinball Hall of Fame, Super Mario Brothers arcade machine.
Yes.
I saw it. Again,
it was awesome.
It was I didn't get a chance to play, but it looked sweet.
That's the one where you slid on everything, right?
I think it was a little. Did you play it in Vegas?
No, I didn't play it in Vegas, but it looked like the direct port to the NES Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't on the Play Choice 10. It was a standalone system. And
yeah, I'm sure the time, they have it set up so you would the time would run out before you can finish the thing. But
no, it was a regular arcade game. You put your quarter in and you play till you die.
You die.
Yep.
The good old.
When he dies, he dies. So, all right, cool.
Stuck on Drago, eh?
I am now.
Shudder.
So, Frank, I'm going to be happy that you're going to be able to join us on this week's Retro Spotlight.
Ooh, okay.
This is a new segment that we've incorporated. Okay. Hi, Buttafuoco. I don't know why I'm in in a Letterman mode.
And as I told Larry last week when we debuted Retro Spotlight, he needs to learn on his segueing skills because we'll be discussing things and then he just kind of pulls it out of the blue.
Okay.
I might as well, right?
We'll learn them.
We'll learn them really well.
This will not be my last podcast.
No, you'll be back.
Many times.
Yes, no, I welcome another voice that's not Larry's on the show.
I have a vault of useless gaming.
We can do Frank's side segments or whatever.
Sure, the Toys R Us scam. That was always a good one. I'll explain that after.
On Knapp Street?
Oh, yeah.
Does that have anything to do? Flatbush Avenue. I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Flatbush
Avenue.
Does that have anything to do with WrestleMania and my mother?
Today.
Well, Larry's got a great WrestleMania story to tell you offline, since we've already told that one on the podcast.
Because Anthony's, how nobody beats the Wiz. Well, Anthony beat the Wiz.
Oh, very good. Nice.
Remember that?
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, what system was that?
Wasn't that N64?
Was it? I don't remember. I guess.
Trying to remember. But whatever. Bottom line is I beat the Wiz.
We had the car running on the outside. I mean, nothing was stolen. Nothing was stolen. I want to put that on.
Everything was paid for, but I got what I wanted.
Sounds like similar to my Toys R Us camp.
That will be. Tune in next week, folks, when we have voice modulizers, so you don't know who's saying what.
Right.
Ant, what do you got this week? What?
All right, so getting back to Retro Spotlight since we segued off of it. Since I knew Frank was coming on and I was talking to him about some of his favorite games, and he said that a lot of the games he really enjoyed playing were racing games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I thought it would be a good Retro Spotlight to talk about Outrun.
Outrun, oh man, yes.
I do remember. I remember playing it first in an actual arcade. It was the first sit-down game that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there might have been others, but I remember actually sitting down behind the wheel, and I'm like, I have an obsession with driving. I love to drive. I own an old car. I love driving games, and I think primarily because I like the damage. I like now the games now they show the physics.
Yeah, it's very detailed.
Very detailed. Back in the day, you could crash into a wall and bounce off it. Certain games still do that, which drive me nuts. But Outrun was great, and it was basic. It was very, very simple. You drove, you had to beat the time, and then you had to choose which direction you were going. Left. When the giant fork in the road came, you had to go, okay, if I go left, I'm going to go to California. If I go right, I'm going to Texas or whatever.
The wicked fork in the road.
Right, and then the left side was the easier path, and the right side was the more difficult path. So depending on how good you were at the game, you chose whether or not to challenge yourself.
And honestly, I'm going to be God's honest with you. I did not know that until right this second. Son of a nutcracker! I did not know that. I was probably going right the whole time and losing my hard-earned quarters.
That's exactly right. If you really wanted to beat the game, left.
Go left.
Go left.
I have to go break out my system now. Son of a...
But so just some information on Outrun, which was actually I'm not big on racing games, but I do remember playing Outrun in the arcade more than anything else. So
Chuck E. Cheese.
So it was released on September 20th, 1986.
86
in the arcade.
Holy cow!
1986.
All right.
And I believe it was one of the first games to incorporate what they called at that point 3D. So you had They consider that 3D with the car, and then the camera was fixated behind the car, and then you had the thing, the track coming at you.
Third person.
Third person. Yeah. So it came out September of '86. It was the best-selling arcade game of the year.
I don't blame it. Yep.
It sold 20,000 arcade cabinets,
which back then was a lot,
which was considered huge. By 1994, which was a good 8 years later, a total of 30,000 had been sold.
Wow!
So which was considered really good because arcades are they were expensive at the time, especially that the actual sit-down arcade. It was single player. It had the the steering wheel. You had a gas, brake, and.
Can I just interrupt? The first year they sold 20,000. They sold another 10,000 in the next 8 years?
Yes.
Considering that it was probably the decline of the actual video arcade building, was it More Fun? Was that the one in
Fun Time?
No,
Bay Ridge. No, Bay Ridge.
But considering those were on the decline because gaming systems were becoming more popular, selling another $10,000 was...
No, that's big time.
That's big, yeah.
No, definitely.
Yeah, especially as the home console industry started to boom.
Correct,
yeah. So 86 was when it came out in the arcade. 1987 was when it was ported to the Sega Master System.
Okay.
And then it appeared again in 1991 on the Sega Genesis.
That's where I remember it.
I think that's when I got it on the Genesis.
Yeah.
Right. And finally, in 2014 in Japan and 2015 worldwide on the Nintendo 3DS.
Yes, that's right. I don't have it, but I think I'm going to get it now.
Yeah. So it was. That's how many times it was ported. In 1987, at the Golden Joystick Awards, which were the arcade awards at the time,
it
won Game of the Year and Arcade Game of the Year, and I thought it was interesting to point out it won Arcade Game of the Year, beating out Bubble Bobble.
Really?
Huge.
What year was that?
Bubble Bobble
87?
was a huge arcade game.
What year was that?
1987 Golden Joystick Awards.
Bubble Bobble. It's fun to say.
Bobble.
Bubble Bobble.
Right. So a few other things that I thought were kind of cool about the game. When it came out on computers in 87, because it came out on like Commodore 64 and a bunch of other, like Amiga, Apple, all that stuff. Yep. It sold 200,000 copies in the first 2 weeks.
Good Lord.
Which back then is huge.
I really didn't think it was that popular. I'm shocked. For a racing game.
I know, right?
For a racing game, it was actually really good. In fact, do you remember, Frank, I'm sure you remember how the game had different radio stations to listen to. You can switch the music.
Yes.
Okay. So when they ported it out to certain computers, the music actually could not fit on the floppy disks for the computers. So some versions of the game came with an audio cassette, so you can play the music at home while you're playing the game, because it could not fit the music on the floppy.
That is amazing. Was it legit music?
It was the music from the game.
Oh, that's right. No, it wasn't. Yeah, no, I know.
It wasn't like Grand Theft Auto where they actually had licensed music. It was the music for the game.
Okay.
But you could basically play it. You just pop it in your boombox
awesome.
and listen to it while you're playing the game.
Giant.
It's funny.
Giant say anything boombox.
Just a little aside with the music. There was a hockey game. I don't remember what system it was for. It might actually have even been for a PC. Again, I played a lot of PC games, but you could incorporate the music you had on your PC to play in the arena.
Game. Oh, really?
Yeah, and there was only a one and done. I don't remember.
I remember that. I think it was NHL 96.
It might have been 96. And I remember because this was before iPods and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how great would it be now if I could do that with my iPod with 4,000 songs on it during when I'm playing hockey. But that was I was one of these. I'm sorry, that was just a little aside because you mentioned the cassette and the music.
That's cool.
No worries. I'm sure if you can get your hands on that cassette, I bet it's pretty valuable.
Yeah, right. Honestly.
So a couple other things about Outrun were a bunch of unofficial sequels came out for it. One of them was called Turbo Outrun in 1989, where there were 16 levels, and you would drive in New York and Los Angeles, depending on the levels, obviously.
Really?
But it was an unofficial sequel that they basically used for what eventually became Rad Racer.
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So yep. And then the only sequel to come out for Outrun, you had to wait until 17 years later in 2003. Outrun 2 was the official sequel that came out in arcade and on the Xbox.
I remember that. I do remember.
Outrun
I think I actually
2,
have Outrun 2. No, not on Xbox.
Yep.
No. But,
and then just to round it off, in 2015, IGN listed Outrun as the 4th most influential racing game ever.
Really?
I wouldn't doubt
it.
Well, if you think about it, a game like Outrun probably spawned Cruis'n USA.
Oh, totally.
All those. Yep. And think about how many games came out of Cruis'n USA. Even the Star Wars version of they have the same.
Oh, the Pod Racer.
Pod Racer.
Yeah.
All those games, if you want to sit down and break it down, could be,
all go back to Outrun.
All the way back to Outrun.
I agree.
What was the other one? Road Blasters. I think that came out
around
the same time.
I know what you're talking about. I think it is Road Blasters. Yeah.
Gun. You could pick up guns on the road, and you basically
blast.
Yeah, it was like Mad Max
on the road.
On the road.
Hence Road Blasters.
Exactly. So that's our retro spotlight for the week. So I thought Outrun was a good choice.
I like that.
Definitely good stuff. Do you remember much other? I mean, you were talking about a couple arcades there where you were growing up. What was you said? Bay Ridge.
There was one at Bay Ridge called More Fun in the Caesars Bay parking lot. Mm-hmm. I remember going there as a kid.
Caesars Bay parking lot? Is that the one that we were talking about that time a couple weeks ago with Frankie?
Yes, it was.
So, okay, that was the name of it. All right.
There was one that opened up in Sheepshead Bay on Voorhees Avenue. I was a little bit older. It lasted about a summer because I think it was run by a kid toucher. And there was a pool table.
Maybe.
There was a pool table on 4 machines. And a guy behind a counter smoking cigarettes. I don't think my mother let me in that more than once. And then they started to go away. You go to a video store to rent a video, and they'd have one game or two games.
Yeah, right.
It was Cloak and Dagger. I remember it was in the video store that was by my house, Video Vision. And they had Cloak and Dagger based on the movie. Mm-hmm. Great game. Hard as hell, but a great game. But actual video game buildings, arcades, I guess. Yeah. I mean, this Chuck E. Cheese was the big one in Brooklyn.
That's true, yeah.
Which was in the same shopping area as More Fun. Once Chuck E. Cheese opened, More Fun.
That was it. Game over.
Done.
Was done. Yep.
But the problem with Chuck E. Cheese was there was no real safety. Getting back to kid touchers, I think a kid actually got taken out of Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh.
And plus, it was a germ fest with that ball pit and cardboard pizza. But I remember having a birthday there. I had a birthday, and before now, when you play a game and all you get is tickets. Yeah. I don't want tickets, because I'm not going to go home. I have 2 kids, so they love those things. It cost me $50 to get
for a pencil eraser
to get a whoopee cushion. It's like, no, I hate that.
Cherish that whoopee cushion.
Oh, I have about 20 of them. Don't worry. That's all my son gets. I got tickets. The good thing is my daughter is an ace with the crane machine every time. I'm not even joking you. Friendlies, any place that has a crane machine, I give her $1, I'm walking out with a stuffed animal. I don't know how she does it. She's either got a system but the crane machine, anything that's got something that gives out 1,000 tickets, she gets.
There you go.
She's a whiz at it.
All right.
I still hate all the crap that have to come to my house. But I want to talk about games. I want to talk about video games.
Okay.
I want to talk about arcades.
Arcade is part of a video game.
I want to talk about sitting at home on a Friday night, crying into my ice pint of Haagen-Dazs, playing a video game because I had no life in college. Just admitted that. This is like therapy.
Wow. I was just gonna say. I feel like we're video game therapists.
Well, look, we're all from Sheepshead Bay. Nostrand Avenue had 7-Eleven and Blockbuster right next to each other. I'd go get my game, I'd go get my ice cream, and I'd go home. Or my nachos.
Well, see, I had one up on you because when I was in college, I worked at a video store, so I would just borrow the games.
Just go on a break.
I remember bringing I used to bring my PlayStation 1 to work with me. So I would sit there and play games for like 6 hours while people were coming and renting videos.
Sir, can you help me? Not now.
No.
I have to finish this level.
Thus was the life.
Yeah. And then I was also able to order games through the video store that weren't in stores.
Well, that's how
I got my hands on a few imports.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you were getting a whole ton of PS1 imports.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, now you have GameFly.
Yeah. Oh, the Netflix of...
I deliver that all the time.
Do you?
I'm not going to say what I do for a living. Damn it. Totally building a character profile.
Well, and aside from GameFly, like Larry and I, and we've said this on the show before, there, I belong to Retro Game Treasure, which is like Loot Crate for retro games.
Ooh.
Oh,
so
you pay
you pay a monthly fee. They send you 3 to 5. They send you 3 to 5 old school games, depending on which systems you have. And Larry joined another one on his own where he spent a ton of money to get 12 games.
Oh, spacing. Is this Echo the Dolphin?
Yeah, and he got Echo the Dolphin. Actually, what's funny is last month I also got Echo the Dolphin for Sega TV.
Right? Yeah, you got a better Echo the Dolphin.
There was a part in Echo the Dolphin. What was the original system that came out? It was Dreamcast, right?
Echo?
The original?
No, Genesis.
Genesis.
Genesis, right. I'm sorry, Genesis. It was the dumbest game in the world.
Yeah, I never understood how to play it.
And then they got to one part where you had to there was always that one part in many games, especially with Sega. I remember, I think it was either Alex Kidd or Wonder Boy. And again, called up the Sega hotline, got the same snotty little 17 or 18-year-old kid. And I'm pretty sure it was, I want to say it was Wonder Boy. You were on a skateboard, and you had to just jump to the next part, and you get to level, there's like 20 levels, you get to level 18 or 19, and it was one guy. You had 3 guys, whatever, but if you died, you died. You didn't get to save. You had to start from level 1 again.
Oh, I hate those games.
So you put in a good hour and a half worth of gaming time. I built up 9, 10 guys, get to this one jump, and I lose everything. I think I actually snapped the game in half because even after calling Sega, oh, you just got to jump, dude. You just got to jump. I'm like, I am jumping. Is there a magic jump or a super jump that I'm not, just got to jump?
You talk about roid rage, road rage, gaming rage.
Gaming rage.
I think we've all gone through that.
There is such a thing as gaming rage. I broke many a controller.
Yes. Yeah, we all have thrown them across the room and everything. Forget about it.
I specifically remember throwing them across the room when we would play our 4-player wrestling games.
Yes.
And you guys would all triple team me.
Well, we needed to win.
I remember playing some of those wrestling games as well.
Those games, I mean, just the multiplayer aspect, I think, is what really would lead to gaming rage.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to bring up before I forget, Frank, since you were a lover of all things Sega, I don't know if you've gotten your hands on or know about the Sega Portable that came out recently.
I have heard about it. It is on my wish list.
It's on your wish list. So I picked it up. I picked it up last week before I left for Japan because I thought it would be something really cool to play on the plane. But it's got 40 original Sega Genesis games, including Alex Kidd. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes,
there we go. Yep.
Alex Kidd and Sonic and all that stuff. But the cool thing about it is that it also has an SD card slot.
Ooh.
So you can add games to it. Now, again, we never condone downloading ROMs illegally. You should always download ROMs for games you own.
This is true.
Nothing of illegal.
For games you own.
I've never cracked a game in my life.
Right. You could potentially load up all of your cartridge games. If you download the ROMs for them, you can load them up on an SD card and add it to this little portable system.
That's cool.
Well, my birthday is coming up, so I will have to tell the missus.
Yeah.
Well, you tried.
So,
yeah,
definitely worth looking into and purchasing. It kept me entertained on my 12-hour flight for quite a bit.
It's funny. I recently just dug out my PSP.
Oh my god!
Wow!
With, believe it or not, Grand Theft Auto Vice City stories.
There you go.
And still works, but I can't. My son wants to play it, and
I
can't let him play it.
No, right?
So I might just have to take that to work with me.
Well, they were. I remember when we were roommates, Frank. There were 2 games that basically dominated our television screen, and Grand Theft Auto 3 was definitely one of them.
Yes.
And of course, there's one we have to bring up, which is Baldur's Gate: Dark Alliance 2.
No, both of them. Both of them.
The second one, or
the first and second one. Oh my god!
I didn't even know you played that.
Oh, we had a marathon.
We played it together because it was a co-op mode.
Yes,
it
was like Gauntlet.
Right,
yeah. There was 4 players.
It was like Gauntlet.
That game ruled.
Two CPU players and me and Anthony.
Yeah.
And that. Do you want to say it?
No, I want you to say it because it was great.
Well, we spent lots of hours playing that game and get to the end, and we're ready for this great finale, and it was like, well, go buy Baldur's Gate 2.
Did it?
It was like, no, it just ended. It was like, we were waiting, like, okay, where's the boss? What happened? You just walk through this door at the end and credits.
What? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Literally, like, it's like investing your time in a television series that doesn't have a finale.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was, and then we went and you had the second game. Did we finish the second one?
No, I don't know if we ever played it. I think we were so pissed off by what happened.
Yes, it might have just been out of utter disgust. It was literally like
lots of cursing thrown around. And then I believe we switched over to, and then I switched you over to watching 24. I think after we did that,
he got you hooked on 24.
Well, it was. I think it was currently season 2 of 24. I never watched it, and he had season 1 on DVD. So he knew all what happened in season 1, and I got to the big reveal with Jack's girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the character's
Nina Myers.
And she obviously turns out, spoiler alert, to be a bad guy. And do you remember in The Simpsons when Marge was on the plane? And she was like, let me off.
Oh, yeah.
And she's running. That was me running through the apartment going, no, are you effing? And he's just sitting there laughing and giggling like a little girl because he knew the episodes leading up to this reveal what was going to happen. And I was sitting there going, oh my God. And he never broke. And I literally, if he could have videotaped me, am I wrong with that comparison? I was running.
No, not at all.
I was running from one end of the apartment to the other.
I had to sit through 20 episodes just silently waiting for that moment because, like, we're going through the whole season and we know there's a mole. And Frank's like, "It's Nina." No, it's not her anymore. It's Tony. It's got to be Tony.
It's Tony Almeida. Yeah.
They introduce a new character. It's like, oh, it's that one. It's like he would go back and forth, but he would never go back to Nina after, like, episode 6. Because there's an episode where, like, Jack shot her, like, quote unquote shot her.
Mm-hmm.
So from
right,
that
when
moment
she's
on,
like the ditch or something. Wow,
yep.
I can't remember.
So from that moment on, you kind of believed that she was not the mole.
Wow.
And then when that reveal came out, like I really wish I recorded that because that was just gold.
I was literally, I'm not lying, running back and forth from one end of the apartment. Remember the apartment?
Yeah. It was a long apartment. Yeah, it was.
Now later
thin,
on
but
PlayStation
long.
2, there was actually 24 the video game.
Oh,
hey-o.
Did you know that?
No, I don't remember that one.
Yep, I
was Nina the mole in that one.
There is a mole in it, and there's also a great. There are great moments when you're not playing a board. There's the interrogation scene where you're Jack, basically, trying to get somebody to break.
This game is rated PG-13.
Now that I have the two of you together, this was mentioned once a long time ago, and I'm going to dig the knife just a little bit deeper here. Can we talk about the NHL draft situation?
Yes, we can.
Listen, this is the first time in a while we got everyone together, so this is very inside information, but I want it happening right now.
It does have to do with retro gaming because of the content involved. So you want me to start the story?
Oh, because of what you... okay, now...
Yes.
Okay, for those who don't know me, I am a rabid hockey fan.
As am I.
As the two people could see me, I have my Rangers hat and an Original 6 hoodie on. I had to work the day
Rangers t-shirt.
Yes,
too.
Right. I had to work.
I got my Islanders.
Yeah, well, that's not really
hoodie.
Whatever.
Yeah, I own this. Anyway, I had to work the day of the draft, and it was supposed to be a big draft. I don't remember the year, but I set my VCR. That's how long ago this was. To tape the draft. Okay. And I had to leave.
It was a Saturday.
It was a Saturday. Anthony didn't have work. I did. I left it posted on the TV. Taping the NHL draft. Do not record anything. Well, much to my dismay, and I found out months later, when I shut the door of the apartment, the wind from the door blew the post-it off. And then Anthony taped about 6 episodes of Finders Keepers. Right? Was that
no? That's not. No, it was not Finders Keepers. What happened was, you had already left for work. I had gotten up. I actually had to go out that day. I don't remember where I was going, but I got up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. You were already gone, so I had like half an hour to kill. So I turned the TV on and I was looking for something to watch. Now, Saturday morning at 7 a.m., there's not, even with cable, there's not a whole lot to watch. So I happened to stumble on the fact that Nickelodeon at 7 a.m. was airing episodes of Nick Arcade, right, which was the retro arcade. It was an game show for kids. Yep. So I literally watched one episode of Nick Arcade, shut the TV off, and went out.
Right. And then fast forward to me coming home from work. I ordered my Chinese food. I sit down at TV. I press play, and I'm like, "What the hell's this?" And I believe then it was Finders Keepers at that point. About Probably. 6 episodes, and I'm literally fast forwarding. I'm like, what the? And when Anthony walked in, did I rip him a new one? And I'm like, dude. Now this was the day before smartphones. No, really, internet was, basic at that. No, well, internet was the internet. We had we were at AOL. Yeah. We were at the AOL days.
Internet was internet, but I didn't have a cell phone at the time.
Right, I didn't have. I had a cell phone, but it wasn't a smartphone, and it was horrendous. It was not a good day for me. And all I wanted to do was watch the draft.
I've been waiting,
and I heard it as I stated my case.
Okay, I actually something I wanted to bring up. I've been thinking about when I was on the way here. I don't know if you guys gone over, and if you did, just shut me down. But I wanted to know if there was a game that you bought well, I do believe you did mention it in one. This also goes to my Toys R Us scam. Okay, and I'll make it brief. Afterburner. The Sega game?
Yep.
Based on Top Gun.
Yep.
I hate playing games. Don't know what possessed me to even now in Grand Theft Auto, I hate using plane missions. I hate that. I can't fly. I'm a driver. I bought the game. I ended it in like 15 minutes. Now, up until then, you could go back to Toys R Us and go, this game doesn't work. I want to return it. And they would go, okay, go get another one. And you would just go pick out a different game, go back with the receipt.
Mm-hmm.
I actually returned a broken Commodore 64 that I found in the garbage and got a brand new Commodore 64.
Way to go.
Yes. This Afterburner I brought back, and they must have caught on at this point. Not to me, but in general.
Your picture's in the back on the wall saying, do not accept returns from this man.
With the ice cream around his mouth. Right, so...
Homer L. Simpson.
Well, this ties in... I'm calling back to previous. So then, I think I was driving at this point, or my brother was, actually, but we left. I couldn't do it. They would not do the exchange. I literally ended this game in like an hour. And I'm like, this game sucks. I'm not doing this anymore. We drove to Software, etc.
Oh my god!
And I returned
they took
it
back
there.
Anything.
They took it there,
Software,
and I got
etc.
Back in. I mean, those Sega games were probably $30, $40, $50 even back then.
Probably even more. Yeah.
And I got my money back. Actually, I think he might have given me a store credit, but which was fine because I was still doing the PC games. But that's the Toys R Us scam was a great scam. But
wow.
Yeah, because back then though, like even though they had barcodes, like they couldn't track what store you bought.
No, not at all.
So if you didn't have a receipt, you were able to bring a game back and just tell them, like, I don't have the receipt. It was a birthday gift or something like that.
That was the
and and it doesn't work.
It was a birthday gift,
so
and I have it already.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to get something different, and they would buy off on it. Now, when you scan a barcode, it's like they know exactly what store it was in, they know who bought it, and everything. So you can't get away with that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Damn technology.
Your name comes up, but you were going to ask. You had something.
My question was: there a game that you guys ended like the day you got it?
Oh yeah, I can name one right off the top of my head. It was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for Super Nintendo.
Never played it. Didn't have Nintendo.
I bought it for fun. I'm like, okay, this should be good. I finished it in 25 minutes.
There you go. That's how that works.
Yep, that's yeah.
I'm not really.
The irony of it though is I still have it.
Well, it's going to coincide with the movie and everything like that, so it works out well.
Might be able to sell it.
Exactly.
I really wasn't privy to beating a lot of games, so they really...
I never beat anything.
No, I've beaten games, but not a ton of them, because I'd get one game, then I get another game, and forget about the old one.
Right.
I don't think there was ever... I'll have to get back to you next week on that. I'll have to think about that one.
Baldur's Gate.
What? I love Baldur's Gate. I got both of them, and I'm going to start them again soon.
I'm now mad.
Well, definitely go play it. Yeah, I don't blame you, because I'm getting mad thinking about it. And I'll tell you this much, I do remember right after that, it wasn't long after that I brought that game to Funkoland that said goodbye.
Yeah, you had to see the look on our face. It was utter disbelief.
I have Dark Alliance too, if you guys want to play it.
No,
we're good, and I'm 3,000 miles away safely, so you're lucky, otherwise I'd destroy it in front of you.
I've been looking, and I remember I bought that like on vacation somewhere.
Show it to me so I could step on it.
What? I was looking for that
forever.
Forever for that game. So.
Oh man.
Good times.
Good times.
Excellent.
And speaking of good times, I'm gonna
segue
since we've been flipping through a lot of gaming history. We have our other segment on the show, which is called This Week in Gaming History.
This Week in Gaming. That's our new.
We don't need you doing that for anything.
What was that?
So basically,
I'm ashamed of you.
That's the lead-in.
So Frank, just to keep you up to speed, basically This Week in Gaming, we go through just a list of games that came out this week in the history of video games.
What day does the week start on?
What day does the week start on?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Saturday.
Well, at my job it starts on Saturday, but in real life I think Sunday.
Okay, thank you. All right, so This Week in Gaming, which starts on a Monday.
This Week in Gaming, which I originally started on doing Monday to Sunday, I've now switched to Sunday to Saturdays because Larry took a temper tantrum when I did Monday through Sunday.
Are you serious?
No.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't. Thanks for ruining the bit.
Apparently it matters
Thank you.
to him.
Out of spite, started on Thursday.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to make
Do
the
the bit.
podcast gods angry. Considering the fact that our podcast starts on Tuesday, we should technically do Tuesday through Monday.
Well, if only we had little devices that had the world at our fingertips that we could actually find out of the real answer.
Right. We should take a poll
Google.
of all 5 people that listen to our podcast.
6 now.
Hoorah.
6. We've got 6.
So what happened this week?
So I've actually got.
Well, I'm going to blog this.
List, so I'm going to blog. I'll keep it a little short. So
plug your blog later.
So I'm just going to go through years and games that came out in those years. So first off, in 1982, on the DOS, DOS, there was a game released called Wallbanger. So if you haven't heard, if you're not aware of Wallbanger, it was actually.
I think I've seen that late at night.
A version. It was an original version of Breakout.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So remember Breakout or Super Breakout, which
then
got Arkanoid from. So Wallbanger may have been the first.
The predecessor
of that style, right? I don't know if Breakout came out before that, but anyway, Wallbanger was the first one. And then this is interesting. In 1986, in Japan, the Famicom Disk System was released this week.
Oh, okay, that's a big one.
And the disk system, the main point of the disk system was to have a save feature for some of your games.
Mm-hmm.
And so they released, I believe, 9 games for the Famicom Disk System. When it launched.
Yep.
2 of which were Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda. Now, those 2 games had already been out in Japan on their, the NES. But they had re-released it on the disk system, so there was the save function involved.
Interesting. Why would you save Super Mario Brothers?
Whatever. For somebody like me who used to always get stuck on the bridge levels with the stupid flying fish.
Oh, you run right past those.
No, I would have issues on some of them. So what I would do is that I remember specifically pausing the game, going to school for 8 hours, and then coming back home to continue the damn thing.
Guilty.
So, and you're sitting in school all day, and you're not paying attention because you're just praying that the game is still on pause.
I think I did that with Pitfall.
And you hope someone doesn't change the channel to Nick Arcade.
Yep. So and then a year later, 1987, in the arcade in Japan, Contra made its debut.
Contra.
And I saw a Contra stand up actually in the city this weekend too. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. Fast forward to 1991, also in Japan, King of the Monsters was released in Japan.
Great game, Neo Geo,
which was awesome. You remember King of the Monsters was?
I vaguely remember that. I might have. Yeah. What year was that?
91.
They were basically, you played as knockoff like King Kong, Godzilla,
Ultraman.
Okay, I do vaguely remember that.
So that was and also for DOS again in 1991 was they released Ninja Gaiden
on DOS. What could that have looked like?
I don't even want to know. 1993. This was actually an interesting week for video games because 1993 Star Fox for Super Nintendo debuted.
I remember. I do remember.
Yes.
Also in Japan, a lot of Japanese releases this. This game history. Yeah, well, it all starts there. Do you remember do you remember Sid Meier's Pirates?
Yes.
So,
sorry, was that loud?
Right. Also, this was for Windows 3.x. In 1994, the sequel, Pirates Gold, was released.
Hey, do you remember when we were going to be pirates?
Hey! What about Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about
Son
that.
Of a gun.
And then this is fitting because we brought. I think we've all brought this up, and I just got this in my. retro game pack for last month. Echo the Dolphin for Sega CD came out in Japan in 1995.
Echo, do you remember? Echo the Dolphins had so many games released for such a horrible
weird
game, in my opinion.
Maybe I have to revisit it. I don't know. I just remember there was stupid rings. It was like Sonic on the water, but slower and dumber. And I ended
like
Sonic,
a manatee.
Mr. Robotnik, right?
Also in 1995 on Windows. This is interesting only because Nintendo doesn't.
What was this, Windows 95?
Doesn't loan out their characters very often.
No, not at all. Well,
but in 1995 on Windows, a game came out called Mario's Game Gallery, and what it was it was a collection of board games where you played with Mario. So it was like checkers, goldfish, backgammon, dominoes.
Sounds about
Dominios.
minutes of fun.
Yes, exactly. Well, the selling point was Mario you got to play with Mario. So, so that was something that actually came out that I didn't know existed. Moving on to 1996, Alone in the Dark 2 for Sega Saturn.
Ah, yes.
I did not have the Sega Saturn.
That's the one you skipped, huh?
I skipped. Well, I think that when I went, what year was that? 92?
96.
Yeah, I think I might have. No, I didn't know you guys yet.
No,
right.
not at all.
Duke Nukem 3D also debuted for DOS.
I have a funny Duke Nukem story.
Shoot.
I was playing Duke Nukem on PC, and I just couldn't get past one part in the very beginning, and it took me a long time to realize I was playing the demo. Because I'm stupid. Like, why can't I get past it? No doors are opening. Nothing's happening. I'm a moron. Thank you.
So bad.
Yeah, I'm stupid.
In 1999, Marvel vs. Street Fighter for PlayStation 1 debuted in Japan.
Sweet.
Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Great game. Let's see. Anything else to note? Fear Effect. Remember Fear Effect?
It sounds familiar.
No.
All right. Well, Fear Effect 1 came out in 2000, and then Fear Effect 2 came out a year later, PlayStation 1. Let's see. Any other ones I really want to point out? Because we've been flipping through this a lot. The Goonies for NES.
Goonies 2?
No, Goonies 1.
Goonies.
I thought it was always Goonies. There was a Goonies 1 on the NES?
There was a
Yes,
Goonies
it had
1.
the octopus, the missing octopus scene, did it? Didn't it not?
Yes, it did.
And then they had
in the
Goonies
movie,
2.
There was that. Oh, and there was octopus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what octopus? I don't remember. Watched the movie 8 million times.
It's a deleted scene, though, if you watch the DVD.
Yes, I do.
So,
I've watched it since then.
since then, yeah, it's just great to find out. It's like, oh, okay, so he wasn't stupid when he was saying that.
Wait, there were 2 Goonie games on the NES?
There were 2 Goonie games on the NES.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Goonies 1 was a hard one to find, though, if I remember correctly.
I never even knew it existed. All right.
Yep. Let's see. What else do I want? One last one I'll point out would be Terminator 2 Judgment Day for Genesis, Nintendo, and Game Gear.
Yes.
All classic.
All came out this week. Gaming history. Yeah, Game Gear.
Yeah, little games, Game Gear. All right.
So and I think that's enough.
That's this week in gaming. Thank you, Anthony.
I like that.
You are welcome.
It's fun, right?
Yes.
You like being on the show?
I can't wait to come back.
No, we'll talk about that.
I was good.
I'll have to check your contract.
Frank, you are welcome back anytime you want.
I have gaming stories up the wazoo.
No, it works. Definitely. No, this was a blast. We enjoy having you on the show. It's not often we have guests.
Will hopefully, once this podcast airs, I will link it to my blog and my 7 followers.
All right, here we go. Here's our cheap plug crossover. Go for it.
I don't have to plug it. I don't care.
That's all right. Plug your blog. I'm joking.
It's called Messing Around, which is,
nice.
Yes, if you look at the words, it should be familiar to you. It's MESSINAROUNDBLOG blog.wordpress.com.
WordPress.
Yes, I went the cheap free route.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with going the free route as long as you're getting it out there.
You guys know me very well. I am cheap.
Yes, and that's how you get along in life.
Yes.
Larry is not. Just look around this apartment.
Yeah, I wish I had that in my life.
It's not. I mean, it's stuff. It looks like a lot because it's a small apartment.
Now my wife works from home in my man cave, which is upsetting because I can't play as much as I want to.
Isn't that a complete contradiction to the man cave?
Yeah, well, I had to give up a little space for her home office, but you know what it's like when I have a day off and she's working on a conference call and I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5. And I have to lower the volume because Trevor is cursing. And, I'm talking to some racist, sexist 10-year-old who's cursing me out on my headset. And she just gives me a look of death. And I'm like, well, now you're getting a wall.
Oh, man. Sweet.
Yes.
All right.
Nice.
Cool. Well, we do thank you for being on the show. And,
thank you for having me. I look forward to my the next call you guys give me in 2 years.
Technically, we've only been doing this really
to be on this podcast alone
for a few months. That's all.
before it was
well,
podcast.
You're welcome to come back whenever you want, and there will definitely be instances where we'll definitely need you to fill in for me because I'm going to be traveling.
Honestly, too. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that afterwards.
I would be honored to be your Joan Rivers.
Thank you.
Or your Jay Leno. I do have a good. So.
Dude,
but yeah, I've got
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah,
you want me to do Ferris Bueller?
No.
Oh, the character from Ferris Bueller?
Yeah, make me laugh.
I do. I have a vault of impressions. So.
Maybe we should save those for next time.
Call me sir.
GD it.
Rooney.
We'll save that for next time. Yeah, I guess you know what. We're gonna. I guess we'll do this now. I guess Anthony's gonna be gone for a couple of weeks, so it looks like
I've got a couple of weeks. I've got 3 Japan trips coming up.
Wow.
So yeah, the next couple of months I'm gonna be bouncing around a lot.
Do you eat sushi?
I love sushi.
Ugh. Well, you'll enjoy it there. It's nice and
fresh. One of my favorite things in the world.
All right. Konnichiwa.
So be on the lookout. Frank will make his return
as guest host.
Dun, dun, dun.
Get him his own theme.
The hostile takeover is happening, Ant. Look out.
No, I would never. It's just an honor to be here.
Yeah.
I wish you guys the most success with this because if you guys win, I'm going to be riding on your coattails. So
that's what
we're going
to try to do with him since he's been in Hollywood.
We're going to slowly turn your blog into a retro gaming blog.
There you go.
I would be glad to incorporate.
Feel free to write on the Facebook page.
I'm a Yelper as well.
There you go.
Nice.
Hey, I got a free dental whitening from Yelp. So. All right, I've been talking way too much.
Yelp away. You know what? Larry will give you something from his apartment every time you Yelp for us.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Well, he does need the room.
I don't think he wants anything from this apartment.
Well, I bet he can find something.
There are a few things I want to steal.
Don't look at my pop vinyls.
There you go.
I'm not looking. Just look over there and shush.
Steal his ET cartridge.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just find another one at the Belmore flea market where I found it the first time.
That game was absolutely horrendous.
Oh, it was terrible.
I know you've spoken about that. I've listened to that
many times.
Yes.
All right. Well, to annoy the both of you, with that being said, we're going to start to wrap this up here, and we're going to call it a night. Again, Frank and all joking aside, we appreciate it. Thank you for joining us, and yeah, it sounds like you'll be back very shortly.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to the next time.
Yes,
and good luck in Japan.
Yeah, have fun in Japan.
Thank you.
Holy cow!
Sayonara.
Are you when you go again? You're going to look for the N64. You got me all flabbergasted now. Famicom. It's not anything worse than what I've said before. Don't worry about it. You'll get there. So I'm not worried.
What was your question?
Famicom. Next time you go, you can be looking for a Famicom?
Yes, my goal is to get my hands on an original Famicom and some games. So that is what I will be hunting down.
Sweet. We're gonna be on the lookout for that. And so thank you again. Thank you everyone for downloading the podcast. Remember, like, follow, subscribe, share it.
I forgot one very important thing.
What?
Virtual Boy sucks.
Thanks. Okay. Good night, everybody.